Almighty for His permanent peace and peace.
Visuals are coming in from the All India Institute of Medical Sciences. I want to connect to our reporters there. I believe I have Anand Patel and Aishwarya. All right, so these are the mortal remains of the former Finance Minister, Mr. Arun Jaitley. Mortal remains would be taken from AIIMS to his residence at Kailash Colony in the national capital, South Delhi. I want to connect to Anand. Anand, what's the latest? I believe his body, his mortal remains being shifted from AIIMS now to his residence.
Yes, this is what we are being told, that the family has already left, his wife, his son and daughter, including all the senior BJP leaders who were present at the cardiac and neuro center, have left for Kailash Colony residence of Arun Jaitley, and his body has also been moved out in an ambulance after the embalming process was completed to Kailash Colony residence, where the mortal remains will be kept till about 10 p.m. tonight for the workers and party leaders to pay their last respects to the departed soul. From there, around 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, the body will be taken to the party headquarters at Deen Dayal Upadhyay Marg, the BJP headquarters. Over there it will be kept from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. we are told. This is a tentative schedule though, but till 2 p.m. The leaders will be coming in from all across the country, and the party workers will be paying floral tributes at the BJP headquarters, and from there on, later in the afternoon, the body will be moved for last rites at Nigam Bodh Ghat. So this is what is the tentative schedule. From here, AIIMS, where he was there for almost 2 weeks, doctors tried their best to treat him, but one after the other his organs kept failing. First it was the heart and then the lungs, and both of these organs, vital organs, had to be bypassed, but his condition continued to be deteriorating, and today the doctors declared his death at around 12:30 or so. So we're still awaiting a final release from the AIIMS as to what were the conditions at the time he passed. But yes, it was a multi-organ failure. So this is what the AIIMS news has all been about. Leaders have been flowing in since morning to pay their respects, and now the body has been moved out from AIIMS to his Kailash Colony residence. Preeti?
Let's cut across to the Kailash Colony residence right now. Polumi Saha, my colleague, joining us from there. Polumi, the mortal remains of Mr. Jaitley, the former finance minister, being moved right now from the All India Institute of Medical Sciences to his residence. What are you witnessing around you? I believe a special corridor there created as well.
That's right, Preeti. AIIMS is about 10 minutes away from here. So in about 10 to 15 minutes maximum, given the traffic on the road, we expect that the mortal remains will in fact reach the Kailash Colony residence of Mr. Arun Jaitley. His family, of course, left ahead of the ambulance moving out of AIIMS, is what my colleagues are informing me right now. This is the barricade which this lane leads up to the bungalow, which was, of course, occupied by Mr. Jaitley's family. That is his residence and has been his residence for a very, very long time. He has an office come residence set up inside that specific bungalow over there. They've barricaded the lane going up to that stretch, because obviously it would completely clog up that stretch and make it inconvenient for the other residents in Kailash Colony as well. What we are learning right now, Preeti, is that the mortal remains of Mr. Arun Jaitley will be kept at his residence for any sort of final tributes anyone wants to pay till about 10 p.m. this night. And then, of course, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, they will be moving the mortal remains from the residence in Kailash Colony to the BJP headquarters, where it will again be kept for anyone who wants to reach the BJP headquarters tomorrow and pay their final respects to the departed leader, after which there will be a little bit of a final procession which will start from the BJP headquarters going all the way up to Nigam Bodh Ghat, and it is likely that around 2:30 p.m. Mr. Jaitley will be cremated. Back to you, Preeti.
Give us the update, because what we are getting to know from the Prime Minister's office is that because the family conveyed to the Prime Minister, who spoke to them, offering his condolences post the demise of Mr. Jaitley, who was very close to him, that the Prime Minister continue with his diplomatic visit. Are we going to see him come back, or are we seeing, or will he complete the entire tour, including G7, and then return back to the country?
Well, so far, Preeti, there has been no information about any sort of change in his itinerary. So what we're being told is that immediately after news came from AIIMS that Mr. Jaitley had passed away at 12:07 p.m. This afternoon, the Prime Minister spoke with Mrs. Arun Jaitley, Mrs. Sangeeta Jaitley, and also Rohan Jaitley, his son. And both of them conveyed to the Prime Minister that he should continue with his foreign tour. He is away touring France and UAE and Bahrain for the next few days. He's back only on the 27th of August. So they have conveyed to the Prime Minister that he should continue with his foreign tour. And so we've been informed by the Prime Minister's office that so far there is no change in his itinerary. So the Prime Minister won't be here, but top leaders of the Bharatiya Janata Party have already rushed back to Delhi. Those who were away this weekend on various engagements and programs, they're on their way back to, of course, Delhi as we speak, and they will be arriving over here. We have a confirmation now from Lucknow as well that UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath is going to reach the Kailash Colony residence of Mr. Arun Jaitley at about 4 p.m. this evening, and we're expecting other leaders to reach here as well, those who are in fact on their way back to Delhi. Back to you, Preeti.
All right, thank you. Appreciate you joining us, Poulomi. We're going to continue, connecting with you. But this is what we can report right now at and sad 12:13 p.m. this afternoon. The former Finance Minister, Mr. Arun Jaitley, passed away at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences. We'd like our viewers to remember that he's been ailing for a very, very long time, since the 9th of August, 2 days after the passing away of Sushma Swaraj. Mr. Arun Jaitley was admitted in the ICU of AIIMS. He's been ailing there. There have been medical bulletins which suggested that things were not going too well for him. And unfortunately today, at about 12:13 p.m., is when Mr. Jaitley breathed his last there. What we can expect, and we're giving out information right now, which has been corroborated by our reporters on ground. His mortal remains are being moved as we speak from AIIMS. They'll be brought back to his residence, which is in Kailash Colony, South Delhi. It's about a 10-minute difference in terms of the distance there. From there on, tomorrow morning, his mortal remains would be moved to the BJP headquarters. It would be kept there. They would be kept there till about 2 p.m. for leaders, for cadre to come and pay their final respects. And from there on, there would be a procession which would be taken to the Nigam Bodh Ghat, and that is where the final rites, or the last rites, of Mr. Arun Jaitley would be conducted. So this is in terms of procedure, in terms of protocol, what we can expect in the next 24 hours. But tributes, condolences will continue to pour in, and we're going to keep getting our viewers the very latest on that. But I'd like to bring in our national affairs editor, because there's so much at this point of time that is being said in terms of the politician that Mr. Jaitley was, the bulwark when it came down to strategy for the Bharatiya Janata Party, a close confidant, troubleshooter for none other but Mr. Narendra Modi. But what has been his rise? He started his political career when he was all of 17 years of age. His rise was outstanding. And from the leader of DUSU, a student leader, to the finance minister of the country. He's held other portfolios such as defense, such as AIIMS, but his biggest contribution, Rahul, if one must, point out, or his longest standing legacy in the field of parliament, other than being this master orator, this erudite communicator, in terms of tangible legacy, it would possibly be being able to push through something like the GST. What else could you add to that?
You see, GST was a landmark move. You see, this was a move which was hanging fire for something close to 12 to 15 years. It was the Congress government which actually thought about it. And the initial work, I recall, the first One Nation, One Tax started being talked about during Vajpayee's time. And the states were totally disagreeing to anything like GST, primarily because the big states, the dominant states, were the manufacturing states, and this is a consumption tax, and they were worried that they would be losing taxes. and any amount of loss in taxes were totally unacceptable. And coincidentally, one of the biggest, strongest voice against a GST in which the Congress government was not promising compensation or was not weaving in the compensation factor to the manufacturing state was Gujarat. So Gujarat Chief Minister Narendra Modi, since he was not getting any assurance from the central government on the compensation clause in GST, was strongly opposed to it. When BJP came to power, there was a twin problem. The twin problem was a great ideological issues with Narendra Modi. Several political parties which were in power in states were, say for example TMC in Bengal. But in the GST, first the bill in the making was very critical. You see, there was a lot at political stake. The Congress and several other political parties were insisting that the tax rate should be put into the constitutional amendment. But Jaitley managed to convince them that if you do that, tomorrow if you want to even reduce it, you'll have to go for a constitutional amendment again. That pushing the three bills and then the GST Council creation and that historic midnight launch of GST from the joint, from the Central Hall of Parliament, and then the council meetings, 20 out of them, not once there was a need for a vote between the states, BJP and others. It were all consensus decisions.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to continue to talk about Mr. Jaitley, the politician, the man, also a keen cricketer. We're going to get you the latest in terms of the condolences and the tributes. Stay with us.